2017 for me will always go down in my memory banks as one of my favorite years on the Appalachian Trail. One of the reasons being is because I came face to face with my favorite hiking partner, Cavey. Real name, Jason McElroy. Much like myself, Cavey refuses to give up on a promise he made himself to hike the entirety of the Appalachian Trail. Today, on the Hiker Spotlight, you will learn a lot about Cavey, his opinions on things, some of his most outstanding and worst moments on the trails. Here's Jason McElroy. Next on the Hiker Spotlight. This is Teardrop, and welcome to New to the Wild. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and broads, I want to welcome you guys one more time to the next Hiker Spotlight. Today, I am sitting here with a man that literally taught me how to poop in the woods, Cavey. So I definitely want to welcome you. This is Cavey. For you guys that do not know, his name is Jason McElroy. I appreciate you being here, Cavey. What's going on with you?
Hey, man, we're doing well. I appreciate you having me on here.
Absolutely. Now, for a lot of you guys that don't know, didn't watch last year's episodes on my channel, I met Cavey. I had the privilege of meeting Cavey at top of Georgia, and we pretty much went to hike on for several hundred miles together. Cavey, with all that being said, I've learned your nickname, your trail name, while we were hiking. What is the origins of the trail name Cavey?
It's from the 1980s cartoon Captain Caveman. It was the nickname that he went by in the show itself.
Excellent, excellent. Now, we'll get into a lot of the personal fun that me and you had along the trail, because I'll say now that I had Cavey, without a shadow of a doubt, is the absolute most entertaining hiking partner I ever had. You guys are going to see a lot, because in 2018, we'll get to that. But anyways, I want to ask you, Cavey, how long have you been hiking, man? How long has this been a thing for you?
Oh, man, I've been hiking for 20 years, but I've only really got into the long distance stuff within the last, I think it's 7 years now.
7 years? And,
yeah.
And what got you into it?
When I was a young kid, I was about, I want to say kid because whatever, but I think I was about 17, 18 years old, and I was up at Bake Oven Knob, which is a lookout here in Pennsylvania. And as a kid, man, we used to just go up there and we would drink and we would just have fun. You know, that's where we went. There's a large parking lot, accessible a half a mile away from there. And we didn't know any different as kids. And one day I was coming down from there and I just happened to see these two dudes with backpacks on. And I was like, where are you guys going? You know, and they happened to say, hey, we're going to Maine and we're coming from Georgia. And, you know, we stood there for a minute and they explained what the white blazes on the trees were, which I had no idea even at that time. And I went home and looked it up on the internet, and sure enough, man, I got addicted.
Man, now you've got a good amount of hiking experience. Much like myself, and I think one of the things that connected us is we've over and over tried this Appalachian Trail thing. What would you say has been the number one factor that's prevented you from finishing your hike in the past, or something that would prevent someone else from doing so?
Oh, man. Well, I would say I would answer that on two different fronts. One, have your family affairs in order before you come on the trail, as well as any lingering ailments that might be affecting your body in any way. And the other coin on that is just bad luck. Having any sort of injury that prevents you from being mobile it's impossible to hike with, such as your feet.
Yeah. Now, this last year when we hiked together, we split up when I went home, but you continued on for quite some time. And my question is, you got injured on the trail. You want to update us on what that injury was and how it's coming along with the recovery process?
It was a small tear in my Achilles. They called it Achilles tendonitis. He said possibly with a small tear, which would heal on its own. I think you had mentioned somewhere in one of your videos where I needed surgery, and it didn't get to that point. I don't know if we just didn't talk at that point yet or not, but I didn't have surgery on it. But the doctor did say it was going to take months to heal, and I'm finally now able to walk on my own, without very much discomfort. So I think that by the time March comes around, I should be fine.
Sweet. Sounds like you got a hike coming up planned. We'll definitely get into that. Now this year, obviously, you hiked several hundred miles. Was there a final number on your hike this year? Do you got numbers for us?
I don't remember because I went north for a great deal of it, and then I went south for a little while until I was at the end of the Shenandoahs when I hurt my foot.
Yeah, definitely. Man, it was a sad moment. Now, I do want to announce to everyone that Iceberg, from what I understand, who was our third partner of Team Burger, #Team Burger, he finished the trail. Did you follow him throughout the rest of his hike?
I did. He went up and finished. He was with his girlfriend and his dog, and he then went on to hike the long trail, I believe, after that. And then I just saw recently where he went back home and was looking for a place out in Massachusetts.
Yeah, definitely. So, me personally, I just want to give a special shout out to Iceberg. I know me and him don't see eye to eye on everything, but I definitely appreciate you, Iceberg, and I hope you and Dova enjoyed your time. Now, me and you have done some hiking here. So what I'd like to hear from you is what your favorite hiking moment was, and it does not have to be this past year, but what's your all-time favorite hiking moment when you were hiking, other than meeting me?
Bro, I think I was actually talking about this last night. The part where we had got dropped off at Klingman's Dome and it was closed, and we started hiking, and we just weren't in the best of moods, and we're walking along, and I just did that fake fall scene.
Yeah.
And your reaction to that made it just epic.
Because when you did it, I knew to run and catch up. I mean, there was just no question about it because I knew it was gonna. I knew it was a skit, and I couldn't wait to see your face because you always have the cheesiest smiles. And so that was your favorite hiking moment, seriously?
I've had a lot of them, but for some reason that one sticks in my head. Just, it was a combination of the elements and the shit that we were dealing with out there, and the fact that, it wasn't scripted.
Yeah.
And it just went funny. It cheered me up, and it definitely, increased my mental ability to deal with another day out there.
Oddly enough, my favorite hiking moments tend to be around that same area, that same period of time. Like, one of my favorite moments was when we were actually hiking up Klingman's Dome the day before. Remember when it was starting to storm? It started to storm right when we got there. The change of scenery, the change of trees, and then going back to when we went back to Klingman's Dome. That first night in the shelters when we actually got put. I don't remember if we got put out of the ice water or whatever it was, but the jokes, the little videos, the little snippets that we were making right there, you know what I'm saying? That was probably my favorite hiking moment. The good times, man. More to come. Let me ask you, Cavey, what's your favorite hiking area? You've been hiking around. I know you've done a lot, especially in the South. What's your favorite portion of the trail so far?
Oh, man. I would probably say Grayson Highlands.
Yeah. I know you're a PA boy, so I was glad you wasn't gonna say them damn rocks, man.
No, fuck our rocks. I'm sick of that shit too.
Man. So what do you like about the Highlands? Is it the ponies?
You got me, bro. It's just the entire area. I mean, the views that you get, the ponies that you get to ride. It's a combination of everything. I think one of the coolest memories that I had as well was I was sitting on a rock at Grayson Highlands, and in front of me was beautiful sky, and I'm sitting there eating my lunch, and all of a sudden I hear bang, huge crash, clouds, just craziness. I turn around, and the whole sky is just pitch black. I had seconds to get up and start moving, and the weather can change, like that. And that always sticks in the back of my mind, too. I love that area, though. Just the rock formations, the grassy fields.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I don't think people realize how rocky that area actually is. I know it's not compared to Pennsylvania, but you know what I'm talking about when you're coming.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of rocks in that area. A lot of climbing. I'm talking. It may have been right before the Highlands, but it's in the Highlands. You know what I mean? It's in that region. But I remember looking down and being like, this is far more rocky than I ever expected this place to be. But that's just me. Let me ask you, what would you say is we went over your favorite or your best hiking moments. What would you say is your worst hiking moment ever?
I would say when I face planted in the Smoky Mountains, hiked for 2 days on a concussion, woke up one morning, passed out 6 times, needed CPR, ambulance, search and rescue, all that fun stuff. I would say that was definitely the shittiest moment I've ever had.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And yeah, it's one of the things because I was really concerned because I like to do some drinking on that trail. Cavey, when we're going, Cavey stays away from it. And that was one of the things that he mentioned is that the people that he cared about back home always were concerned with him because of that day. So it was, I heard about that story and it was always something that stuck in my mind, especially because we talked about it when we got to the Smokies. It was just kind of something we discussed.
Right.
What would you say is the worst area that you just hate, you despise it, you don't ever want to hike the fucking thing again, even though you probably will?
I'd have to say Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got to say Georgia. And it's because this will be the 5th time that I've hiked the damn thing. And I've never seen that state when it's green, man. I don't know what the hell that state looks like when it's green. It's always in March.
So yeah, and this will be my 11th time hiking through it. So I definitely know that feeling. You get bored of this shit, and that's just the truth. Now, no, go ahead. Was you saying something?
I'm just saying it's not very rewarding after a while.
No, there's only 2 views: Blood Mountain and Preaching Rock. Really, that's the only 2 real views.
Yeah, and you almost just want to get the hell out of it.
Yeah. And it was definitely fun times, man. Leaving out of Georgia with you, as a matter of fact, that tended to be the beginning of me and your hiking for the most part. Now, we met in a hostel, so I got to ask you. I know you don't do a lot of hostel hopping, but do you have a favorite hostel?
Favorite hostel, man. There's so many good ones. A lot of good ones that people tend to not go to either. Like Akuan. I don't know if you've ever been there, but they're basically a hiker lodge. They won't even call themselves a hostel.
Right.
I give them 5 out of 5 easy. As far as I'll go, I don't know, man. I really don't know. Top of Georgia is a really good one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places that I've been. I happen to like Standing Bear.
You know what? I do after this time.
Really good area. I mean, you can't get any better than where they're located. And if you just stop down there and look at the buildings and the facility, I mean, you're in awe. It's a really cool piece of property.
It is, especially when you're in the cabins and you let the peasants have the hostel. Just saying.
That's right. Yeah, get there early with your small group and get that cabin, man.
That was well worth it, man. We kept our beer cold in that little water. Am I right? That little area right there. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a small stream that ran underneath the cabin we were in.
Yeah, and we did not urinate in that stream. Just letting you people know. Not that we do those types of things. Worst hostel, worst town. No, you know what? We talked about best hostel. What was your best town? What's your best trail town? What's your favorite place? It better not be Gatlinburg either.
No, it's kind of funny. I'd probably say Hiawassee.
Really?
And I'll tell you why. It's for the food.
Yeah.
Hiawassee, early in the hike, your body's still in kind of that shock. You haven't worked out that often yet, and your body is suppressing that hunger. But In Hiawassee, there's some really, really good places. There's a barbecue pit. There's that steak place.
Daniels, I think, is the steak place. I think.
Daniels.
Daniels, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. I mean, that may be Franklin, but no, I think it's there. So Hiawassee.
Yeah, I would say Hiawassee just for the food.
No, I agree with you because up until that point, there's really no place to eat unless you go into Helen. Have you ever been into Helen?
I have.
What'd you think?
It's a very cool place.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you. We talked about the best hostels in towns. What would you say is the worst hostel? Well, let's do that first. What would you say is the worst hostel you've ever experienced? Don't be PC either.
The Doyle. Listen, when me and my friends go to the Doyle and we walk back out, and I'm a local guy, man. I believe in taking care of your own, man. Take care of your own shit. But listen, that place is not worth the money. And I mean, the food's good. If you're hungry, go get some. There's a good pizza place in town too. But yeah, I mean, I hate to say it. I'd say the Doyle.
Well, let me ask you, what's your worst trail town?
Worst trail town.
Yeah, one that maybe broke you, but it wasn't worth the money. Anything like that?
I would say where I've been treated like less than human. I don't really remember where it was, but it was somewhere in New Jersey. And if anyone's walked through New Jersey before, they'll probably be like, yeah, there was that one place. It was right on the highway there. There was
Talk about Vernon?
It might have been Vernon. There's a pub there. There's a real mean guy in a store. Like, he'll chase you out if you sit down on his bench.
Jesus.
You know? Yeah. Not real friendly right there. I can't. It might have been up somewhere where it crosses over in the Union.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the book.
Yeah.
What's your worst trail town? Do you have a? Go ahead.
Just the way I was treated. That's all.
Yeah, and I think that's sometimes we have moments like that. Like, I'll give you an example. I think, what's that place in Roan Mountain, the Mountain Harbor Hostel? To me, it looks beautiful. It's a beautiful property. It's a beautiful place, but they're not really. There's a reason they don't call themselves a hostel. I don't think, even though they cater to hikers, I didn't feel welcome there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're a bed and breakfast. Their primary money is not in us.
Right. They have a wonderful food.
It is a cool place, though.
Yeah. Let me ask you, man. You're a big dude. You ever get scared out there? What was your scariest moment?
I would say waking up with a skunk in my vestibule.
Jesus.
Just to not move. You know, you don't want to scare it. You don't want it to freak out and piss on you. So, I mean, I've had a lot of encounters with almost all wildlife, and that would probably have been my least favorite. But you did ask about my scariest. I don't think I've ever really been scared.
You can't tell me that night hike out of the Smokies wasn't a little intimidating. That was fun as shit.
I've been there before, but yeah, I mean, just other than your normal kind of, you know, being aware on a higher sense, but not scared. Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree with that. Do you have? I know you've met a lot of people out there. Who are some of the most memorable people that you've met that you can remember to think of? Just, you know, I know you'll probably leave some people out just because, but what are the most memorable faces that you've met on that trail?
Oh man, my buddy Bill Garlinghouse, L-Dog. Oh man, Damn Yankee. And, you know, these are years past. Bigfoot. No, there's another Bigfoot, by the way.
Yeah.
But I did meet him as well. Earlier this year.
Yeah.
Down in Georgia somewhere, I ran into him.
Yep.
I was like, hey,
I saw him
you do those YouTube videos.
Huh?
I was like, hey, man, you do those YouTube videos.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. You know, it was definitely, hiking with you was definitely, like, as I said, it was one of the one of the best things. And from what I understand, this year you have plans to be back out there. Of course, you plan on having a partner. What's your big plans for this year? Is this the year you're going to go all the way, or is this are you going back to the AT? Just basically tell us what you're doing. Shit.
Well, this foot cooperates. I will be on Springer Mountain come March, and looking to go northbound the entire way. Listen, the goal has always been to go the whole distance. I could easily, just start where I left off. I have from Georgia up to Connecticut finished. I could just, continue from Connecticut and be a section hiker. It's not what I've always wanted to achieve, and I don't know. I just feel like I need to go back and do it again. If I can, my body can hold it together, and I can do some things differently, listen to it even more, and keep my nutrition up, and just one foot at a time, and I'll get there.
You sound a lot like me with this, because when you have a go to through hike, well, you can always go back and just hike the Appalachian Trail section wise, like, start where we left off. But are you the type of person that once you have a goal set, you just have to do it? Like you have to through hike this thing. You can't section hike it.
Right. Yeah. No. And it does feel a little odd after a while, though, because you're like, it's either been complications from home, which have long been settled, or it's been some sort of injury or whatever. Just need to hold it together. I just need a little bit of luck, and it won't be a problem.
Absolutely. Now, I'll be out there with you, as everybody already knows. This is probably the most serious they've ever seen us and will ever see us. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, definitely. We're I don't know if it's whether it's just the whole mentality of being out there and in the woods alone or not, but from sun up to sundown, man, we're just making each other laugh. It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, man, it definitely is. Now I remember last year you started your YouTube videos. I think it was around the Fontana area where you really started going at it. You started going at it. Can we expect more video work from you this year out there?
Yes, the whole way from Springer, leading up to Springer. I'm moving real slow right now, getting more out, but they are coming. Just subscribe, and they'll show up when I do it.
Yeah. Speaking of that, there's one more thing I wanted to, before we got into, because I want you to tell them where to find you and all this. Doug Pittman, I have to say this. You introduced me, and you guys will be hearing from Doug Saturday. I will be interviewing Doug on Saturday. Doug Pittman, someone that you introduced me to. He's been a hell of a trail angel for me, hell of a friend. I want to thank you for that, but I'd like you to describe, since he's going to be a future guest, how you met Doug and what he's meant for you on this Appalachian Trail.
Wow. Me and Doug go back from the very beginning of me trying this. He picked me up. He lives down in Georgia and the Atlanta area, and he picked me up. We had met on the forums in the groups. I don't know if you could say that evil word over there, but we met over there in the groups, and I was looking for somebody to shuttle me, and we ended up talking, and he picked me up and took me to the trail. We hung out at the Appalachian Trail kickoff event that happens. I think it's every March 3rd through the 5th or something like that, and we hung out, and he started me on the trail, and then he picked me up at various places along the way and took me out for lunch and stuff. And he does lunches and trail angel stuff, sodas, drinks, whatever, up and down the trail every year.
Absolutely. So you got to introduce me to Doug. I got to introduce you to Hike Hunter. Just your quick thoughts on your experiences with Hike Hunter.
Oh, he's an awesome guy, man. After we hung out for those couple of days, man, I've been friends with him since, and I see his updates and stuff. He's a cool guy.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things, because we're going to get into your social media, we're going to get into all that, but I'm going to ask you some controversial questions here in a second, since we're almost to the end of this shit. Something new I'm asking everybody is, tell the people one personal thing about you, not hiking related, that they may not know.
One personal thing. Oh.
Other than the fact that you teach people to poop in the woods. That doesn't count.
Man, I don't know.
Dude, it could be anything that you jerk off backwards on the damn toilet. It could be anything. I don't. Okay, we got to edit that part out. Well, fuck it. No, just go ahead.
Searching all over the woods for a log with 4G to fucking spank it. Man, I don't know. Maybe really don't know. You. I'm lost now.
Okay,
you done my whole train of thought.
One personal thing that they do not know about you that you would consider interesting. You like midget porn, just something.
Man,
I know I just told the midget porn secret, but that's.
Yeah, you've got it, man. You nailed it, man. You got me speechless, dude. I don't even know. I can't think if it's personal, if it's hiking. You got me speechless.
Favorite food?
Favorite food? Chinese, hands down.
Favorite television show?
I would say All in the Family.
Favorite sport?
Football.
Your team? I already know, but go ahead.
Steelers, baby.
Are they going to win the Super Bowl this year or not?
Not if they keep playing the way they're playing, winning or not. We got to play better.
No doubt about it. Now, all right, something I want to ask you about. There's been a controversy. There's two of them that have been heavily talked about on my channel, but in general in the hiking community. One being Stacy Cazell and whether she hiked the PCT or not. I don't know if you're familiar with that story, but what are your thoughts on that entire controversy?
From what I know, I don't think she accomplished it. That's not to take away anything that she has accomplished. That's not for me to decide. It's not my hike. I'm also not a judgmental asshole, so whether she did or whether she didn't, I really don't care. However, if you're going to go into the community and say that you have done these things, and then, you have to be ready for the backlash, because there's people that don't like liars, and I believe that the backlash that she has gotten is well received. I mean, she brought it upon herself, but to take away any accomplishment that she has had, sure. I'm not going to sit here and do that.
Sure. No, I'm with you 100%. Do you believe that maybe the hiking community has been so judgmental because of the fact that she has solicited funds and she is earning based on these lies? Would you say that's the primary reason, probably?
I would say that's probably 100% accurate, and that's why they are angry, because you're trying to profit off of lies and use the community as a whole to make money.
Absolutely. Second controversy, Damascus, Hey Joe's. You've seen the video where they obviously attacked a Jewish fellow that was on my channel the other day by the name of Craig Johnston, aka High Life. What are your thoughts on that situation in general?
In public, there's no place for it. Even in the private sector, there's no place for it. I don't know what went down prior. I only know what went down on that video, which everyone has seen a million times. They're in jail, and charges against them were not pressed by Craig, from what I believe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was probably, listen, I say some shit when I'm mad too.
Yeah.
And it's usually stuff to anger the person directly, even whether you mean it or not. Right. Now, should they have said that? No. Should anyone ever say that? No. But, in the heat of rage, it either came to that or they were going to throw fists, and those were the words that he chose to use to try and anger Craig even further. And it was recorded and put out there, and it's, that's what you get. That's the consequences for it, and they're paying for it.
At this stage, with them having caught charges, or at least went to jail, their business is now closed. I'd say they pretty much probably paid enough. I think it's probably over. So, just in general, what would you say to the hikers of, let's just say, a minority hikers that see that and think that the Appalachian Trail isn't a place for them? What would you say to those people that may fear that?
I would say that's totally inaccurate. Listen, we're a community that is family oriented. You know, you meet people on the trail, and when you're out there and it's only maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 of you, some groups are even a little bit bigger. But when it's only you guys out there every day, hiking together, talking together, spending every meal together, you know, encountering different things, hazards, whatever, the elements, you're going to form a strong bond, whether you're white, black, blue, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You know, out here, your family, and, you know, if you got dreams to come out here and hike, man, you're going to find out that the trail is definitely a tramway.
Absolutely. And Cavey, all these people, if they know me, they already probably know you for the most part. But if they don't, where can they find you on YouTube, social media, anywhere that they can go to follow you and your future hikes?
Well, if you go over to that book place there, I don't know if you could say the word, so I'm not gonna. But if you just search.
Yeah, you can say the word.
Oh, okay. Facebook. Yeah, go over to Facebook and look up Cavey's Adventures. I post all the statuses there. The YouTube videos, again, if you just type in Cavey's Adventures, will pop up. All of that gets forwarded to Facebook. So if you just want one social media outlet, Facebook is the place to go.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And Cavey, man, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. And like I said earlier, this is probably the most serious you'll ever see us for the most part, just because we wanted to do a more professional interview and give you guys the real story. Cavey, man, I appreciate you being here. I'm going to give you the last word. Any final words of wisdom to the people watching this channel?
No, man, just, you know, hope for the best for my foot, and let's get out there and make some videos, man. I'm excited to hike. I want to get there.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Go ahead. What was you saying?
All the way, baby. Let's do it.
All the way, 2018. As you guys know, Teardrop, Cavey, going together will be a springer.